Hi, everybody. I'm glad that you're here. Today's meditation is going to be on releasing the petal. So, this came to me during my own experience of feeling confined and constrained by past experiences, by a past version of myself. And I've done variations of this type of meditation over the years. It's definitely a process, but it's something that's really, really powerful when we talk about getting ourselves unstuck, when we talk about moving on, when we talk about the things that usually can be difficult, even when we are aware of them, even when we're aware that we want to make a change, even when we have the desire to change. It's like we have these cobwebs from our past experiences and definitely beliefs that are there from these experiences and versions of ourselves that we became in order to um, survive, in order to protect ourselves and adapt. And that's a really beautiful thing. That's a really positive thing. But sometimes it can carry on for too long in our lives where we've outgrown that type of that need. And so I was thinking about that, and what came to mind was an experience I had not that long ago where there was a petal that was restricting a flower from opening. So roses, peonies, these types of flowers that have these petals, moisture, um, temperature fluctuations, having like a dewy morning and then having a hot afternoon, kind of like can shrink wrap a petal around or petals around the flower and it keeps it from blooming. And if that isn't resolved, then the flower will die. And I remember asking my great grandmother about this like a long time ago when I was little about what to do. And she said, you have to cut it open. She said, you have to either rip it off or you have to cut it open in order to let the bloom express itself. And when we're talking about our behaviors, when we're talking about feeling restricted or feeling like we can't get past something that's not aligned to us anymore, it can feel like that. It can feel like just kind of us outgrowing this part of ourselves and yet still feeling this restriction. And so, what we're going to do today is we're going to go to the place where we can manually open, where we can manually take off that outer coating, that protective coating, where we can accept and absorb and integrate the part of ourselves with love and compassion um, that is lovingly trying to keep us from maybe being hurt or having a disappointment or thinking we're going to fail at something or thinking we're not going to be good enough at something. Kind of all goes down to some type of negative experience that we're trying to protect ourselves from, because we know we're going to have all different experiences in life and we are different people. We have different information. We're older. A lot of this stuff comes from our early life. Not all of it, but a lot of it, especially if it's a repeating pattern. And so if we just try to focus on the behavior outside of us, we're at the wrong end of the chain. The behavior is the manifestation of the beliefs, the thoughts, and then the actions that follow suit, that align with our identity. If we find that we're doing behaviors that don't align with who we are anymore or who we want to be, what we want to be moving towards, we have to go back to the beginning of that chain and we have to look at our beliefs and where those beliefs came from. Because you can believe anything. It's important to question our beliefs. So when we're feeling stuck like that petal, we're going to go back to the place where we learned to restrict ourselves, where we learned to hide our light or dim ourselves. If this is something for you, as I'm talking about this, brings up significant trauma, then this might be a practice that you bring to your therapist or to your healthcare professional. Um, it's important to have support when you're doing this type of work. So we don't want to start with something that's really, really intense. We might find ourselves in that place, and we can remember as I guide you through that we're always, the whole point of this is showing ourselves that we're here for ourselves, to stop the cycle of self abandonment and to feel a different experience, which is maybe getting what we needed to get at a time when we didn't get it. We can go back and give ourselves that now. So let's get in our meditative posture, which is going to be an upright spine. I want to do a firm back, soft front. So if you're sitting, I like to sit with one leg over the other in half lotus position. We just want to be in a place where we feel solid, and then we can kind of just allow our shoulders to kind of be. That can be hands on the thighs, can also be hands in front of you. I do this. You can have either hand on top of the other, and just supporting your sit bones. So I'm on a meditation cushion. If you're sitting on a seat, you can definitely do that. Make sure you have some support for your back, maybe a pillow, and so that you can be kind of upright so that we have the energy channels. Okay, that's important. And then keep your feet flat on the ground. So let's just start by focusing on the breath. Just allowing yourself to breathe naturally. You can close your eyes, or you can have a lower, soft gaze. You're not looking at anything particular. The eyelids are down a little bit. And we're bringing our attention to how the breath feels as we inhale through the nose. You can take a big inhale. A big, slow exhale. And then go back to breathing normally. My body just felt like it wanted that, so I did it. Any thoughts that you might be having of what you did earlier today or what you're doing later, just let them be. You don't have to be annoyed that you're thinking or be mad that they're there. They're just going to be there. You can just let them be, like furniture in the room. And just return to feeling your breath, noticing your breath. Now I want you to think about, in a loose, open way, something that you are butting up against in your life. Some behaviors coming from you that you want to question, or maybe that you know where they came from and you want to move on from them lovingly. Maybe you're having a hard time to love that part of yourself. That's okay. These are all totally normal human responses. wanting ourselves to have a different experience, maybe a more pleasant experience, or one that we think will help us grow and heal, that's a compassionate thing. It's a compassionate thing to want better for ourselves. And so oftentimes we have struggle associated with behavior change for good reason. Humans don't love change, even when we feel it necessary. So I invite you to take the reference point from struggle and frustration to thinking, what if I surrendered to this? What if I was really honest with myself and said, this is part of my life, and that's okay? And when we do that, we can actually honor that part of ourselves that endured something and adapted and changed. Maybe it was messy, maybe it's still messy. Being human is messy. It's messy as hell. And when we allow ourselves to comfort ourselves, to fully see ourselves, to acknowledge ourselves, the past version that we've outgrown, this is releasing the petal. The other petals can't push past it. We have to go to the root of where we're stuck. So now thinking about that thing in your life that's causing you frustration or maybe even pain, that behavior you want to change, that way of thinking, that way of talking to yourself, that way of engaging with others, how you self-protect. We're going to visit the time in your life when that started. Focusing on our breath, allowing ourselves to relax. We're just going to watch and observe. Think about what you looked like at that time in your life, what you dressed like, what your hair was like, and how you felt. We can even ask that part of ourselves, that old version of ourselves, what do you want to share with me? What do you want to tell me? What do you want to show me? And let it come up. Don't push it down again. Allow the emotions to be there. And notice what comes up for you. Are you frustrated? Are you angry? Are you sad that you went through that experience? Are you frustrated that you feel like you're still dealing with the repercussions of your environment, of the people around you, whatever it is? Because now is our chance to listen to the part of ourself that wants to speak, that wants to talk about their experience, and maybe they didn't get a chance to, or maybe they tried to and nobody listened to them. Nobody comforted them. Nobody was witness to them in their experience, but you were. And so with loving compassion, we can bring that with an open heart to that part of ourselves and say, I hear you. I see you. I love you. And you did such a good job being strong through that. I am where I am today because of how you were able to be, and I know you were doing your best. And I thank you. Whatever you want to give yourself that you need, that past version of yourself, whatever it needs from you, give it. This is one of the gifts of being human. Allowing yourself to breathe. Reassure yourself. You're older now. You have wisdom from experience. You have perspective. You can forgive yourself. You can forgive other people. This is the surrender. If you feel like it, you can put your hand on your heart. You can put your hand on your stomach. To feel the breath. Feel the energy in your body. And just let be whatever emotion is there, let it go. Let it be felt in your body so that it can be expressed and released. Let's take another breath in, and then in the out breath, we're going to put that emotion, we're going to put any intense energy, like a dark smoke coming out of our mouth, and we're going to let it out of our body. Here we go. Let's breathe in and breathe out. As we return to focusing on the breath and letting go of any visions we're having, any emotions, we're just noticing what's there. We don't have to push it away. We don't have to be afraid of it. We can notice what's there. And we can thank ourselves for doing this meditation, for taking the time to honor ourselves and our experiences and to give ourselves what we need, which is something that is always available to us. It's just a practice. So is self-compassion. So as we come out of this meditation, start to open our eyes a little bit more, we can think about the flower blooming. We can think about the petals being able to open. We can think about opening in order to absorb warmth, in order to feel newness, in order to be nourished. Just like roses, just like peonies, just like any flowers with petals that deal with the balling up, which is what it's called, when that petal gets crusty around the outside. Just like when we ball up inside, or maybe even physically sometimes, to protect ourselves, to comfort ourselves. It's totally natural. But if you're finding you're getting stuck, then again, we need that release. We can give it to ourselves. Anything that we need to be released from in this life, it's going to come from us. We can't depend on other people to do it, especially if it's about our own experience. We have to validate our own emotions. We have to validate what we've been through and the strength that we didn't realize sustained us and kept us going, even if we did it in a messy way. What are called maladaptive coping mechanisms. We can transmute that and change that into things that are more adaptive, things that help us grow. Not to be better. I'm not of the school that we're projects. I'm a Buddhist, so we all have Buddha nature. We're all perfectly realized Buddhas, we just don't know it. So It's developing our awareness of what we need in order to help us grow, in order to help us feel nourished, in order to help us open our hearts, especially to ourselves, because we actually can't receive anything from other people, including love, or even give it fully until we can give it to ourselves. And so releasing the petal is a loving practice. It's allowing for our fuller expression, allowing for ourselves to continue to grow and develop, and know that we can be safe taking small steps in doing this because we're here for ourselves. It's a practice in self-love and a practice in self-trust. And so let's dedicate this effort. You can dedicate it to world peace. You can dedicate it to your maybe former self that you visited in this meditation as a gratitude. I'm dedicating this practice to the welfare of all sentient beings on this planet and in this universe. And thank you for being here today. I hope this was helpful to you. And I hope that you like and subscribe so that we can keep hanging out together, maybe in my kitchen.